Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen-Botham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, Andrew Bartolotta.
Welcome to the cityCURRENT Show, where we bring you uplifting stories of individuals and organizations making a positive impact in our community. I'm your host, Andrew Bartolotta, and today we have the privilege of speaking with Jamie Hurd, the co-founder and executive director of Faithfully Restored. Jamie's journey, marked by personal loss and resilience, has inspired her to dedicate her life to lifting up women in need of care, encouragement, and community. And through her nonprofit, Faithfully Restored, Jamie and her team provide support to women facing unimaginable hardships, from grief and loss to illness and financial struggles. We'll explore how Faithfully Restored came to be, the incredible ways they're caring for women, and Jamie's powerful insights on how we can support friends and loved ones going through the difficult times. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you as well. And to learn more about Faithfully Restored, can you start off by talking about how Faithfully Restored came into existence and what the vision behind it was when you and your friends started this journey?
Faithfully Restored was started, our friend group. We were in our early 30s, and as we were all having children, Jamie Hamilton found out that she could not have biological children. So as we were all having baby showers, she was struggling with infertility and later adopted. And we walked through the adoption process with her. And then in 2015, right after Heather had turned 30, she got an early cancer diagnosis. And so really heavy things were happening, and we didn't really know what to do to support each other, but we had the community there. And then later on in 2015 is when our 2.5-year-old son, William, passed away. He choked during lunch, and so it was very sudden. And as we walked through that, our friend group was there. I remember when we got back from Vanderbilt, we walked up to the porch, and sitting on our porch was a bunch of cards and a gift package from our group of friends that we had done for Jamie when she walked through the adoption process, that we had done for Heather when she was diagnosed with cancer. And then I walked up to my porch and saw those notes of encouragement and just the comfort items. And I thought, well, this is my turn. And so 6 months later, after losing William, a neighbor called me and said, hey, I have a friend, her 8-year-old just passed away in a car accident. And what were some things that people did for you when William passed away that we could do for Jenny Rebecca? And so I wrote her a note and I just said, I'm only 6 months ahead of you. This is really hard, but you are going to be okay. And I sent her a book that I had read. And so the way the Lord used that friendship, having both lost a son, was really powerful. And so the four of us, later that year, Heather relapsed within a year. And so the four of us became magnets for stories of child loss, infertility, adoption, early cancer diagnosis. And so it felt really heavy. We were there, we'd come together and be like, can you pray for this person? Can you pray for this person? But we weren't, other than praying, we weren't really doing anything. And so as the years passed, we just became more and more aware of women struggling. And so 3 of us go to Fellowship Bible Church, and we were walking through James, which was an active faith series, and really kind of felt the Lord put on our heart, like, we can do something for these women the same way that your friend group cared for you. You can show up and care for others. So we're like, let's meet once a month. We decided to meet on my back porch, and we wrote notes and just sent little care items to women that we had heard about. And did that month after month for a couple months, and then thought this could really turn into something. We had no lack of women that were struggling, and just really knew personally what it meant to be seen and know that you were loved and know that there was hope in Jesus throughout those deepest valleys. So from the beginning, that's been our goal. And really, we launched in August of 2019. And ever since, we said yes. The Lord has provided everything we've needed, whether staff, office building, donations, women that we've served. And so it's really started out of our own pain and the way that we were loved and cared for, and really wanted women everywhere across the country, no matter what they were walking through, to know they're loved, not alone, and there was hope in Jesus.
The name Faithfully Restored is a beautiful representation of the work that you all are doing. Can you tell us about some of the specific ways Faithfully Restored supports women, such as your care packages and special projects?
Absolutely. So we take in prayer requests from across the country. And most of the time, 80% of the time, that's coming in from a friend. That's you submitting a prayer request for your neighbor that just lost their spouse, or maybe your aunt in Arkansas was just diagnosed with breast cancer. And so you get on our website, faithfullyrestoredwomen.com, and submit a prayer request for that person. And then every prayer request that comes in, and they range from anxiety, depression, loss, divorce, really a lot of situations. When they come in, someone on our team writes that person back, and then we provide support. Everyone gets a care package. We're in Cool Springs, our offices, we're in the old Dave Ramsey building, and all of our care packages are made by volunteers. So you can come in and you'll get a thing that will say Jamie, loss of child. And those items, it's almost set up like a store. So a volunteer can come in. Each care package is curated individually. A handwritten note goes in everything we send. Every package is prayed over, and then we send it from our office. On top of care packages, we'll pay rent for widows. We've sent grieving moms on a trip. We truly try to meet the need of whatever it is that that person needs and how they need to see Jesus in their situation. So it's been neat over the last couple years having more and more resources to truly see a need, whether it be $1,000 counseling grant or whether it be acupuncture appointments, or we're just here in a couple of weeks, husband and wife are going to Vermont for the weekend, and they just last month had a stillbirth. And so just to provide some time away for that couple as they grieve that loss with other little kids at home, just a time to get away. So our work is very unique. We truly try to figure out what it is that that person needs and meet the need.
It must take a lot of course, love, energy, passion, but how do you and your team spend time to help each other with the wellness aspect? Because I can tell that there's a lot of heaviness when it comes to all of the stories and the lives that you're touching. Are there any particular ways that you and your team find respite or provide some sort of wellness?
Early on, our board has been very adamant about we need to care for our staff, because really, you really are hearing, especially someone in the outreach position that is truly receiving all of those prayer requests. And you're hearing from people and friends or that person in that situation that is in such a desperate situation, hopeless situation. I mean, we have the list. We do a prayer meeting once a month, and we specifically pray for all the names that came in the month before. So last month we had 87. And so that's 87 different stories of heartache and tragedy coming in. So from the beginning, our board was like, we need to care for our team. And so we have a budget that every staff member gets that they can spend really however they want. Like yesterday, a team member said, that her and her husband were going to South Hall and just doing a day spa, just spending it, just kind of disconnecting and just kind of pouring into each other. And so we've always been really encouraging on what do you need, whether it is, we also have money for any conferences or any type of training that that person might need. We're very intentional. When I meet with the team, it's like, I want work goals, but I also want your personal goals. Like I want you walking with the Lord in a way that he is there. You're going to him for encouragement. And I know sometimes with myself, it all depends on where I am emotionally as to how much I can give to work. So William's anniversary is in December. And so it'll be 9 years in December, and really come the end of November, I start anticipating that date, and I physically feel a reaction as I anticipate that date. So I always take some days off. We're very mindful as a staff of that, of like, you might need to go home today, and just kind of, we got it. And so I think having that communication, celebrating those losses, like someone on our team lost their first husband. And so being very mindful of that date that's coming up, acknowledging that, talking about that. And then also we're hearing all these stories, but then we do get to do something. So there's so much hope in that and joy in that, of we don't hear back from everyone, but a lot of people we do. A lot of people want to share of the impact that Faithfully Restored has had in their walk. And so that's encouraging to our staff too. So making sure that our staff is aware of those just kind of impact stories that come back, and the reward of the work that we get to do, and how the Lord is continuing to be faithful.
I love that you have the health and wellness aspect as well as the faith component, not only within your staff and your board, but also those that you impact, because I think that holistic approach is so important for someone as they're grieving, experiencing loss or heartache. And so you recently held an event to pack over 275 care packages for women facing their first holiday without a loved one. What goes into these packages, and how do you hope they impact the recipients, especially during the holiday season?
We know two of our founders have lost children. And so we know what that first year looks like after you've lost someone. And it's very difficult as everyone's preparing for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I mean, all you can think about is that empty chair at the table, of that just kind of element that you want everything to be the same, and it's just not. And so to see women in that first year is very important to us. And so, like you said, the event packed 275 care packages. We partnered with Dave Ramsey, so 18 of his volunteers came in our office and packed them. They had also already written the handwritten notes, so other employees wrote those handwritten notes. And in that care package, on that handwritten note, is just acknowledgement of this holiday looks different than you thought, and you're not alone, and you're being prayed for, and we're here for you. And then in that care package, Courtney on our team just does a really good job of intentionally finding items. So often we send incredible items, but it really is that feeling seen and loved, having a stranger pray for you, that handwritten note. But in those care packages, we have a little tea towel, we have a cardinal ornament. We partner with Lauren Dunn, a local artist here in Nashville. And so we have hers in there. We'll do chocolates. We actually partnered with a company in Ohio that has handmade chocolates that'll go in there, little gift card. So all of our packages are a little different, but we try to put in items that just have a comfort element, have a lot of our care packages, there's scripture in there, something that they can put up to remind them, even after, months after that package is gone, that little item is sitting there and be like, I am remembered. I'm not forgotten. My loved one is remembered. And so all of our care packages are different, but Courtney does a really good job of intentionally putting items in there that see them.
To pray for you and show that you matter, I think is so important. Even as my family has gone through like infertility struggles, we've adopted, we've experienced some losses and grief. It was those that showed up and prayed for you, whether they told us they prayed for us or silently prayed for us. I think that's so important, and that's part of the community, and what is so beautiful about the human element and how we're more alike and better together as a community. And so you mentioned that you like to educate people on how to care for friends who are struggling. What advice would you give to someone who wants to support a loved one but doesn't know how?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things I love about Faithfully Restored is we're just another component of a resource that people can reach out to. So when you have a friend that's walking through something, a lot of times you're like, I don't even know what to do. And so by submitting their name to Faithfully Restored is one way of just that continued care piece. So we just recently in Spring Hill, there's a 13-year-old that passed away, and we served all of the teachers at Thompson Station Middle School. And we just wrote them a little note, did Thrive Cosmetics, and the principal reached out. And one of his things was, this was so impactful because he feels this weight of remembering that loss and kind of continuing that. And we can take that burden away from someone and be that extra resource. And so I always tell people, submit their name, let us remember those anniversaries, let us, care for them that first year. And then also just showing up. Personally, whenever that happened, I know it's intimidating to show up for someone that's lost a child. You don't know what to say, you don't know what to do. And really what matters, your words are not going to take away their pain, but just for that person to feel seen and loved. I always tell people people get a lot of support early on. And so that's why we don't even send a care package with loss for 2 months, because there's so much support in the beginning. And I always tell people, go ahead and put in your phone dates for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, to just check in on that person. When I truly feel like the Lord brings people to your mind and it's like, oh, I've thought about that person. Let me say a prayer or something, to reach out to them and say like, hey, I was just thinking about you. How are you doing? Or you don't even have to ask a question back. Just like, I was praying for you this morning, or the Lord put me on my heart this morning. And so I always think it's easier to not say anything, but I always remind people, even going up to someone and saying, I don't know what to say, is really meaningful. And so yeah, just the continued care piece and showing up even after that loss, specifically, I think with children and spouse, just kind of talking about them, letting them know if you thought about them, or I had a lot of friends that have kids William's age, and I'm watching them grow up. And a lot of times it'll be really meaningful for someone to say like, wonder what William would have been like, wonder if he would have been playing baseball like so-and-so is, or something like that. So, I just think being there and prayerfully considering, Lord, how should I show up for this person? If you're listening to that and in tune with that, and then just follow what the Spirit guides you to help them.
I think, like you said, showing up is one of the most parts, just to show that even if you don't have the words, physically being there, showing up is very important. For our listeners who want to get involved, what are some ways they can support Faithfully Restored, whether through donations, volunteering, or other means?
If I would really love to submit my aunt, or I have a friend that's walking through something, just even giving us those prayer requests, letting us love on your people. On our website, you can sign up to volunteer. So we have lots of volunteer opportunities. All of our care packages are made with volunteers. We do events once a month that you can come in. We'll have a woman share their story. And so you can come in to help with events. Also donations. We're 100% funded by the generosity of individual donors. We launched in 2019, finished that year at $28,000, and we'll finish this year with an operating budget of $800,000. So in those 5 years, I think the biggest gift has been our growth has been incredible, but at the same time, our resources have matched it. So if either of those were out of whack, I think we would have gone under if we would have had too many prayer requests, but it just really, the Lord's been kind in matching those. So every year we set a high goal, and every year we've brought in more money than we've needed. And so financially partnering with us, a lot of people are like, I don't know what to do. I don't have the time to volunteer, but I do have the resources that I can give you. And so on our website, you can do a one-time donation. We have about 170 Hope Builders, which are our monthly donors. They bring in over $100,000 a year. So that allows us to plan with those gifts coming in, and honestly stay engaged. We have someone on our team, Morgan, that manages our Hope Builders. And so just to kind of stay more engaged, hear those impact stories coming in, as something that you're walking through, let us walk alongside with you. We just know we stay more engaged with those Hope Builders. So any of those things, I love to have people in the office and hear their stories and really try to figure out, what does the Lord have for you here at Faithfully Restored? And sometimes it is us serving them right then. Sometimes it is they have the time to volunteer. And then our largest donors, they're of course an answered prayer to us. And we have seen that they'll tell us, we have the resources, and it's just an answered prayer to have a place to give to. So I love meeting with people and kind of matching what they have with the work that we get to do here.
Is there a particular scripture or quote that has helped you through your own difficult time and continue to inspire your work?
When William passed away in 2015, he died on December 13th. And so it was right before Christmas. And we had our Christmas cards already printed, and Philippians 4:6 on it. And it talked about not being anxious about anything, and the Lord guarding your hearts and mind, and the peace that passes all understanding. And I remember someone saying to me in the hospital, like, what can we do? And I said, my Christmas cards arrived and I want them sent out. I want people to know that we believe that to be true even now that we're walking through this loss. I want people to know that I believe in the Lord's promises. He truly does meet our needs and is faithful and has a plan, and we don't need to be anxious about anything. And I wanted that out there, even though we were walking through literally watching our son pass away in the hospital. And so it really depends on what I'm walking through as to what scripture I need, but I try to have them everywhere.
Knowing that there are so many that you can lean and glean on whenever you need to is so comforting. As we start to wrap up, what legacy do you hope Faithfully Restored will leave both in the lives of the women you serve and in the wider community as a whole?
What a great question. I actually have in my office something that after William passed away, we had Madeline and William. Madeline was 4, William was 2. And after he passed away, we went on to have another little girl, Annie. And in preschool, it says, I was made to be, and then it has work at Faithfully Restored with my mom. And I think as far as a legacy of this organization, the 4 founders, we want our kids to see us doing this work. We want our kids to see us walk through these valleys with a hope in heaven, with a hope of Jesus, and for them to know, because they've walked through this with us, whether infertility, adoption, cancer. Heather kids continue to walk through that with her, loss of a sibling. I think I want Faithfully Restored to have a legacy that no matter what it is you're walking through, that you are loved, you're not alone, and there is hope in Jesus. And I want our community to know that. I want people to speak of that then walk through something. It's not really if, it's when you're going to walk through something. And so I want Faithfully Restored to just be an encouragement and continue to spread that message of hope, even when it feels hopeless.
That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. I think that's a great way as we start to wrap up, knowing that Faithfully Restored is here for us, and we need to be here for them as well. So where can people go to support your efforts, to share the work that you are doing, and to donate or volunteer?
You can go to faithfullyrestoredwomen.com is the best way. On our website, you'll see our 4 founder stories. If you're interested in learning more about the founders, you'll see the work that we get to do. On there also, we have resources of women's testimonials. So if you have a friend that's walked through a miscarriage or a stillbirth or is walking through cancer, we try to have women's stories up there and there's always an education piece. So if you're walking through a friend that lost their spouse, you can go to our website and hear some stories and have women that have walked through that say, this is what was helpful for me. So there's an education piece there on our website. Also to sign up to be a monthly donor, a hope builder, or one-time gift on our website. A lot of people find out about us through our socials. Heather, the co-founder, does all of our marketing and communications. She's fantastic. So it's Faithfully Restored Women on Instagram and Facebook, and to sign up for our newsletter. And my number's on the website. If anyone wants to give me a call and come in the office, I would love it.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much for sharing your story and your co-founder story and the powerful work that Faithfully Restored is doing to uplift and care for women in need. It's really inspiring to see how your personal journey has blossomed into a mission that's bringing hope and healing to so many. Thank you for powering the good in our community and around the globe.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me and letting me share all about it.